There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Automation News Show for, let's see, what is today? Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. I did some interviews in here yesterday with for the Automation Podcast, and I disabled the cam link so I could use it in another package. And long story short, uh, we're up and running now, though. That's great. So in any case, let's go ahead and take a look at the news for today. And let's see here. Some days you just feel like you're all thumbs, and I'm feeling like that this morning. But in any case, let's go ahead and take a look at our first news story today. And Emerson's new wireless transmitter provides flexibility for control and monitoring. Now, this is their new 802 wireless multi-discrete I/O transmitter. It's a next gen over the 702, and this has 8 I/O points. Now, these I/O points can be either inputs or outputs. It also supports wireless HART, which is very cool. And, this is for not only, you may have you may need a wireless transmitter, but maybe you have some other I/O out there you want to collect. And so this is, they're seeing a real growth in this area where people want wireless, and especially an intrinsically safe, and I'll get down to the zones here, but let's see here, like ATEX Zone 2, intrinsically safe, the US Div 2, let's see, intrinsically safe, Canadian, all this other stuff, IECEX. So it's a great way, if you're going to put a transmitter out there, why not grab some additional I/O as well as the main process variables you're going to be monitoring. And so I think this is a great move. This is part of their boundless automation, what do they call that? Vision. But in any case, the upgrade from the 702, which only had 2 I/O, to 8 I/O, I think, smart move, right? From there, we go over to the latest release of Ignition is now available, and that is version 8.1.43. If you're using the trial, they now will tell you, hey, how much time you have left, but also tell you if it's over. So I guess there was some frustration there where people were using the trial, doing some development, and they didn't realize it expired, and they want notice, like, hey, I'm testing this out. I need some notice on how much of the trial is left. They also, on the Mitsubishi driver, now will let you choose the target device. So if you had multiple, not that this is the most popular thing, but like Rockwell and other manufacturers, you can have multiple CPUs. And now you can actually, it's not hard-coded anymore. You can actually tell it which CPU you want to connect to in the same chassis. And then they also did some response times for OAuth 2 and OIDC. So not a lot of stuff on the graphical side, but still some of these things may be a big point for you if you use a Mitsubishi or if you use the trial quite a bit. I don't know why people are using the trial so often, but maybe they don't want to transfer their key from the development system to the runtime system. I don't know. But in any case, it's good to see a new version of Ignition come out. And from there we go over to this, and I thought this was interesting. Now, you typically don't, this is typically something we don't talk about a lot, but the Intensys 700 series, there's an article here about, and this is from HMS, about all the protocols it can bridge. And I just wanted to include this because sometimes these can be hard to bridge, right? Our classic protocol bridging devices don't typically do, Modbus to BACnet, ASCII, KNX, DALI or DALI 2. So I just want to include this in here in case you guys have this. Maybe you want to integrate some monitoring of your HVAC systems. Okay, and you can see there's a whole list here. I wish I could make this image bigger. Open an image, a new tab. But in any case, I wanted to include that because, hey, who knows? I know there's a lot of times, and I don't know what this home automation is. I don't know, that sounds like a category, not a protocol. But in any case, very interesting products here. I've never used them. I probably should reach out to these guys to get them to come on the podcast to talk about these devices because they look very interesting. I know in my past, I've had many people approach me to go BACnet, right? And a lot of times people want to connect directly to an HVAC system. So in any case, wanted to share that with you this morning. Now this one here, this is about Advantech, and they released a new server. Typically we don't cover servers, but this one's specifically for digital twins, and we'll talk more about that later in the show. So I figured I'd throw it in here. This is a 2U server, so 2 spaces, and it has 6 NVIDIA L40S GPUs, okay? So you get some horsepower there, right? 6 GPUs. So I don't know where the L40S stands in comparison to the commercial GPUs, but in any case, 6 of them, that's pretty big. So in here you can see it looks like they're very large GPUs too. So Xeon based 4th gen. So if you're doing any large digital twin projects, this may be something to consider. And then Hillshare has this little device. Now I think this is something that would be purchased by, let's say, somebody who's making a product, right? So this would be OEM to one of our big manufacturers that we typically cover. And, a lot of the companies we cover kind of do that on the side, right? So they make their own products, but they also mass produce the chipsets that other people use, or in some cases, the software other people use, right? So in any case, this little M.2, right? So we're typically thinking M.2 SSDs, right? This little M.2 PC card supports all these different protocols, right? Now, now it says it can be used in a slave in almost any industrial network. I don't know if this is one part number that does all of these, but think about this. It supports the Profinet IO IRT, okay? That's like in real time, right? Or asynchronous real time. EtherCAT slave, Ethernet IP adapter, Profibus DP slave, DeviceNet slave, CAN open slave, CC Link IE field basic slave, Modbus TCP client or server, PowerLink control node, Circos slave, MQTT client, and OPC UA server. This one, I'm assuming it's one chip, does all of this. It's pretty amazing. Now, I could be wrong about that. You may have to buy it per protocol, but in any case, I wanted to share it with you. I thought it was interesting. It was on their news page, and so I just thought it was really interesting. From there, we go over to Endress and Hauser. I don't know why I say Endress Hauser. Endress and Hauser. Flow meters receive dual approval from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. This is approving their ultrasonic and Coriolis flow meters for biogas and renewable gas measurement. So, if you're in these industries where you have these products, it's good to know that they've been certified by the EPA. A lot of applications don't need the EPA certification, but obviously some do. But in any case, I thought I would share this with you because these, you can definitely see these are a couple of popular products from Endress and Hauser. Then we go to Opto 22. A couple weeks ago I had Dan White on, and it was a great episode of the Automation Podcast. And, in this article, I thought it was a good article. It talks about modern edge devices bring harmony to disjointed protocols. And I think it was a great article. But one thing he did in this, or something he chose in this article, kind of just, I thought it was odd. And so I still enjoyed the article. I thought he makes a great point, how, and we've covered this in gory detail in the recent podcasts. But I just want to share with you, and maybe you agree with him, or maybe you agree with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But in any case, in the article, he talks about as far back as the 60s, machines communicated via serial networks like RS-232, RS-45, and CAN bus. And I'm like, well, that's an odd choice to put in there. And so I'm like, when did CAN bus come out? And I'll show you a slide and I'll link to it. That it's like 1986-ish when Bosch invented CAN bus. Now I know they call it control area network today, but I believe it originally started as car area network. But in any case, so yeah, 232, 45. I didn't not look when those were created, but they are very old. But we think of the birth of field buses, at least in the U.S., as Modbus and Data Highway back in 1979. So CAN bus is, half a decade or 7 years later, right? And that's just when they invented it. That's not when it started getting used widely. So I thought that was odd that he would throw CAN bus in here. And then he throws in Modbus, Profibus, and I don't know. I'd love to know more about when Profibus first came out, but I